Welcome to the full experience. This show takes a series of television from all eras, all walks of life, all genres, all levels of quality, and watches simply 4 episodes, no matter how long that TV series ran, to figure out if we can feel as if we watched the entire thing. Do we become conversant with that series vocabulary? We watch the first, the ultimate, the lowest, and the last episode. Now, first and last are obvious. Ultimate and lowest are based on IMDb ratings. We are up to the ultimate episode of Bonanza that first aired on March 9th, 1969, written and directed by Michael Landon, who played Little Joe and later Pa on Little House on the Prairie. This episode is called The Wish, episode 23 of season 10. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Spoiler alert, Tom. I thought this episode was so good that it goes on the shelf next to The Wire in a very exclusive clubs called Shows That We've Watched in Which They Say the N-Word.
I was waiting for where you were going. Yes. I in my notes, I put, wow, the N-word. Then I wrote twice, and then in parentheses,
3
and
times.
more.
Yeah,
I guess in 1969, if you were having a bigot, which these characters are, you could have them say that because you're saying, yes, of course, bigots say that. That's the problem with the word. Whereas nowadays, you just don't have it unless...
culturally, not defending just time traveling back to, 70 years ago or whatever, they probably would have called it more derogatory slang versus the profanity with which we treat it today.
Yeah. I told Amos that he should watch this with his wife, who has been critical of some of the other series that he's had to watch. So I kind of want to start with Amos's impressions, because you weren't able to watch it with her, but she watched it, right?
Right. She was actually she was giving me her impressions on the episode as you guys were going through the first topic of Cordkillers today. I thought of this episode. I recognized some common tropes, and it kind of went different directions than I thought it would. I really appreciated the fact that Haas was ignorant to what was going on, but stood firm on the equality aspect of it, and kind of had to learn about the father's pride and how he didn't want to be given anything. He wanted to earn his way and things like that. If I were to sum up what my wife said about it, she said this episode should be shown in schools as official education material.
Yeah, it was... Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tom.
No, I was startled by the subtlety exhibited in this. I was pleased that it didn't fall, into a lazy, Haas will help, and then I was quite stunned when you had that scene where Haas is like, I'm just trying to help. I'm trying to be the good guy, and getting told like, oh yeah, you just take care of old John, and getting the satire, because that was way more real than I would expect 1969 television to show.
Well, and on top of that, there was, you have to squint, look, grading everything on a curve, because the restrictions on broadcast television were very, very tight. You had format restrictions. You had things you could and couldn't say on television restrictions. You had to write the material in such a way that people could join 5 minutes in and still pretty much know what's going on, maybe miss parts, so you have to repeat them or whatever. Having said all of that, it kind of felt like a movie, and I didn't expect that. Now, a fairly simple movie, only with a couple of locations and what have you, but a movie nonetheless. And Michael Landon is a very, very thoughtful, was, I don't know if we use past tense. In school, they taught me everyone is present tense. Doesn't matter. But he's a thoughtful guy, and so he did put complicated messaging that you very clearly. Haas is meant to be the everyman of America. He's meant to do what seems to be an obviously good. I don't understand. Why don't you just whatever? And instead of telling, they show. It's like, well, this is the echoes and the reverberations, and this is the multi-layered things that, because at first this is really a story of pride. It demonizes pride. It demonizes. It was John's pride. Is that who it was? And then it also demonizes the white bigot's pride. It's great. Now, it's not the highest art on the planet. Also, my first thought when the theme came on is, "Whoa, they got fat." But it was. I thought it was a very ambitious episode, and it's very deserving both of within the program and outside of the program of what they aspired to do.
At the very beginning, Haas is in town and sees little Johnny, right? And he goes and he starts asking about the wish, and he says that his wish is for his dad to be white, so he wouldn't have the problems that everything would get taken care of, because that's what happens. At that point, I like paused it and I just sat there and I was like, oh shit, this is gonna be one of those episodes. Like it reframed. I was thinking this is gonna be just a normal, maybe ethical thing or whatever. But at that point, I knew this was going to be a little more nuanced and a little more like intimate with how it handled the subject and everything else. And I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm ready for this today, but
Well, I was struck by that too, because it was no beating around the bush. It was like hitting you like right in the face. Like, we're going to set a tall order for this episode. And when I was like, wow, okay, that is very real. Both in the time period of Bonanza and 1969. And so I'm very curious where this episode written by Michael Landon goes with that. And the fact of the matter is, it impressed me at every turn. So I was still curious, like, am I missing anything in here? And it sounds like from what your wife's saying is that I didn't miss much if I did. And the only thing I'm left wondering is, who is it that told Michael Landon the experiences they had that informed this writing? Because they certainly were not drawn from Michael Landon's own experiences.
I don't know. Michael Landon.
I don't, as far as I know, believe Michael Landon was ever a black man in the United States.
But as the rest of my thought concludes, Tom, he was deeply religious, so it would surprise me not at all if this all came from immersing in charity work or something.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, absolutely. But who was it? Like, who is the person where he's like, I drew from that? I guess what you're saying is maybe it's multiple people. And
yes, my guess is he didn't have a person. That's the part I have issue with.
Sure.
Is
that
almost certainly Michael Landon repeatedly saw firsthand all of this stuff and didn't. He's capable of not having this handed to him.
I think what's crazy about it is, it would have been tempting for any writer to oversimplify this, right? Mm-hmm. It would have been tempting for any writer to give in to what must have been network pressure to change this and simplify it. And somehow it got made. Perhaps it's the fact that Bonanza was a huge hit in 10 seasons in that gave them the leverage to do it.
Well, in this, within the context, and I suppose there's probably essays written upon this that we probably should have read, but in the middle of the civil rights movement, when there is this general sense in America to want to try to help or to decide that this is a simple problem, this is generational trauma that we're still unpacking to this very day. And so the pushback of it's not as whatever you're saying. If you think if simple is in it, allow us to just provide the barest fable of what the lesson might be, that it's not as easy as you look.
Yeah.
Something that really lines up with my conversations with not only my wife, and for those that don't know, my wife is black, so that's why we keep bringing her up into this conversation. One of the things that I talked to her about is that with everything going on in the world and with the social dynamic the way it is with different ethnicities, this episode really hit me hard in the fact that the dad didn't want a handout, but he accepted an equal playing field.
Well, and that's the part, actually, that was the part that my spidey sense was like, oh, this is a transparent bid for a works program based on ethnicity, which I didn't know how I felt about, but also I don't know if I'm projecting in that case, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, the fact that you don't know whether you're projecting makes me think that it is literarily valid. In other words, maybe it was intended to be that, but it doesn't have to be, right? So it can stand on its own. And that was the thing that impressed me about it is I'm usually very forgiving towards things, but I definitely identify when it's like, they took a shortcut there. Oh, they skipped over a nuance there. And it really felt like they went places that I did not expect it to go. Halfway through this episode, I knew it wasn't going to be a happy ending where Haas was able to win over the town, and it was clearly not headed that way. But it ended with him leaving, and I was surprised that it wasn't like, we'll get a situation where you can keep your land. It was like, no, I still have to leave. That's the reality. We're not going to gloss over that.
I loved that they embraced the complicated ending. Like, you done goofed, Haas. You really are soft. you made your vacation was to screw up a man's life. Congratulations.
Yeah.
And the easy way out would have been to say, well, you can just use the farmland on our property, that kind of thing. And they, that was never really even leaned into.
Well, but I like that as a viewer, you kind of like just offer.
hire it.
You're like,
yeah. But but by the end of the episode, I was like, no, that would not have been. That's not. That wouldn't have been a satisfying ending in any way, shape, or form in real life or as a viewer of this episode. So yeah,
especially because he was a freed slave. So even if you're paying him, it feels too familiar, right? And he wants to be able to do this on his own. Yeah. He has his own land.
Work on our land and we'll take care of you.
Exactly. And he's like, no, I saved money and I bought land. I bought my freedom and bought my land. I don't want to go back to working for someone else. I've made it this far. I want to stay doing that.
Well, I'll say this much in my appreciation of it. I don't know that it's high art. It's a fairly simple 1, 2, 3 story, but boy, did this episode punch above its weight, and boy, did it surprise me with subtlety, nuance, depth, and I understand why it's the highest rated episode for Bonanza.
Yeah, clearly. Like, could you remake this and elevate it even more to be art? Probably. But I don't know that you changed much to the nuance or the script, right? Like there's other things you could do to elevate it, but the story itself, I think, is strong.
Even with that, and even after talking with my wife and everything else, I still feel like there's more to this episode that we're missing because we have the
I don't know that there is. It's Bonanza. I think that we've read charitable amounts of depth to something that is being broadcast to make people in the late 60s buy dish soap. I think you could hear Michael Landon really trying to scream from behind the show, and that's what I dig about it. But I don't want to elevate it to the level of high art that it sounds like you want to, Amos. I don't know.
I don't know if I want to elevate it to high art. I'm maybe this could be overcompensation on my part, but I just want to acknowledge the fact that there's probably nuance here that I'm not picking up because I don't have that experience that maybe had been inferred into the show. Also, I want to know, this is an 8.3 on IMDb. It's the highest rated episode now. How was it taken when it was originally broadcast?
Yeah, no, that's good. That's a fair question. How many people looked like cowboy Elon Musk at this? Because that's what one of the guys in town. I was like, wow, he's a striking resemblance to somebody. Well, let us know what you think. Cordkillers@gmail.com is the email address. I'm very curious if you watch this, what you think of it as well. I will push back a little bit, Brian, and say I think I give this script more credit than you do, because it could have been a very good episode and avoided certain topics that it didn't. And I really keep going back as the biggest example when Haas is like, well, I'm just trying to help. And Sam really kind of letting him know, like, yeah, but you don't know how to help. And you don't know what the implications of your help is. And he wasn't trying to punish Haas for that. He was just expressing his own frustration and something real. And that is a real issue that I think still rings true today. And so that's something that makes this a little timeless. And I feel like that elevates it beyond just a simple dish soap and episode of Bonanza, which otherwise it absolutely is. You're right.
Also, thank goodness if you're going to drop a couple hard R's in the middle of a show, it was aimed the right, pointed the right direction. Like it was, the show wasn't like, oh, this is just how Bonanza is now. It's going to be just crappy racist show.
Yeah.
I was nervous because I was joking with Tom before DTNS. I was like, yeah, they probably just drop a couple hard R's and here we go. There's a story and then
yeah,
and then it happened. I was like, oh, please.
Outside of Sam's story, it was interesting that we got a Haas bottle episode.
Yeah. I chuckled at just how perfunctory the first 30 seconds were. We're like, anyway, he's on vacation. Get out. Let's go.
He got a bag, like a pillowcase full of supplies for $1.22 or something.
That's 1800s, man. Your dollar went farther than I was like, wait, we don't have the older brother anymore. There's some guy named Candy. Oh, well, I guess we won't learn anything about him in this episode.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. And little Joe's not little anymore. You're right. It's like, oh, look at that. We didn't even see Lauren Green. He wasn't even in this episode.
No, yeah, so. I thought he was. Well, no, he was definitely in the intro. he definitely had a gut in the intro.
He was in the intro, but he wasn't in the scene, was he? Did he say goodbye?
I thought he was, but maybe.
Oh, maybe he was. He clearly wasn't a memorable performance for either of us. So there you go. That is the highest rated episode by IMDb ratings of Bonanza, The Wish, season 10, episode 23. So now, presumably, they will lose some weight as we go back to season 7 to watch the lowest rated episode on IMDb called The Strange One, which first aired November 14th, 1965. No, but it won't take me. But you got it? 5.8. Yikes.
Oh, you know what? That's not a bad. That's an aspect that we don't talk about very often. Is the spread between the good ones and the bad ones?
Yeah,
5.5.
Not great, but yes, we've seen worse rated ones.
It's better than half.
The Strange One. Just based on that, what do you think it's about?
Leaning on your left hand.
Yeah, writing with his left hand. It's that strange one, and it would make for a very boring plot. That is our episode of The Full Experience. You get these episodes early if you're a patron. Why aren't you a patron? Dude, I mean, I don't want to say anything, but you could become a patron. It's pretty easy.
This is an escalation in our format. I like it.
I mean, it's not hard. Patreon.com/Cordkillers.
Yeah, you want nice Tom? Go to freetomnewsletter.com.
No. Hey, homespun over here.
Tom.
I ain't trying to say nothing, but patreon.com/Cordkillers if you want to make this right. You get these episodes early and you get after talking a whole lot more. Thanks, everybody. We will talk to you next time on The Full Experience. Goodbye.
Bye.